Hello, hi everybody. So this is our last part of chapter 4 part 1, subtopic 4.3 SAP Encapsulation and Decapsulation. Demystifying data encapsulation. Encapsulation in telecommunication is defined as the inclusion of one data structure inside another. Inclusion of one data structure inside another, so that the first data structure is temporarily hidden from view. Data is encapsulated and decapsulated in this way as it travels through the different layers of the OSI and DoD models. Starting from the application layer and then moving downward, user information is formed into data and handed to the presentation layer for encapsulation. The presentation layer encapsulates the data provided by application layer and pass it on to the session layer. So that is in brief description of encapsulation. The session layer synchronize the corresponding session layer on the destination host and passes the data to the transport layer, which convert the data into segments and delivers the segment from the transport layer into packets or datagrams and give a network header defining the source and destination IP address. These packets of data are given to the data link layer and converted into frames. Frames are then converted into binary data ready for network transfer. So these are some description about the data moving from application layer to the downward to the next layer. Okay, so demystifying data encapsulation. So we have the application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer, dan physical layer. So user data become segments, then become packets, become frames, and become bits. Okay. Demystifying data encapsulation. First, user information is processed by application, presentation and session layers and prepare the data for transformation. For example, Robert opens his web browser application on his laptop and types URL www.cisco.com. The upper layers present the data to the transport layer, which converts the user data into segment. Continuing with the example, Robert's data request passes down from the upper layer to the transport layer and a header is added acknowledging the HTTP request. The network layer receives the segment and converts them into packets. Okay, in network layer, the segment is converted into packets. The transport layer passes the data down to the network layer, where source and destination information is added into the header, providing the address to the destination. The data link layer converts the packet into frames. Okay, the data link layer frames the packets and adds the Ethernet hardware address of the source computer and the MAC address of the nearest connected device on the remote network. Finally, the physical layer receives the data frames and converts them into binary format. Data frames are converted into bits binary format and transmitted over the network, returning Robert request web page. Okay, that is in brief about the encapsulation. Next is data segmentation and reassembly. Segmentation is the term used to describe the process of chopping streams of data into smaller chunks. Chopping or cutting streams of data into smaller chunks. Segmentation usually occurs fairly early in the communication process, and it's almost always software that performs the segmentation process. The segmentation process is performed prior to transfer of data across the network or before storage on a peripheral device. Segmentation is necessary because today's communication system use what is called packetized communication. The data is transported in form of packet. Okay. Segmentation. Chopping the data into segments has several advantages. Once segmented, the segments are referred to individually as protocol data unit, PDU. These PDU are encapsulated into packets. Packets can be sent along more than one path to the destination. This increases both the reliability and the speed at which data can travel across a network. Packet can travel across a packet switch network without tying up a communication circuit expressly for that purpose. Multiple conversations between different parties can therefore share a single communication link. If any single packet is lost, it can be retransmitted instead of having to start the entire conversation all over again. So these are some advantages of the process of segmentation. An example of segmentation would be then Transmission Control Protocol TCP or TCP/IP frame chops an email into a segment, encapsulates the segment with remote and local TCP port numbers, and then delivers the completed protocol data unit. Is passed from TCP to IP, Internet Protocol, to be stamped with a sequence number, source and destination address added, and a checksum calculated. This is example of segmentation process. Next is fragmentation. Fragmentation is the process of chopping larger chunks of data into smaller chunks. Fragmentation is usually performed at the hardware level, and when data is chopped into fragments, it is referred to as a frame. Okay, so for fragmentation, the data is chopped. The larger chunk of data is chopped into smaller chunk. Fragmentation occurs so that data can be transmitted across a connection without overwhelming the memory buffers on either side of the connection. Fragmentation allows for the coordination of data transmission amongst devices connected to a common transmission medium. Next is reassembly. Reassembly is the reverse of segmentation. Okay. The protocol data unit, PDU, are put back together in the correct order to reassemble a stream of data in its original form. So, reassembly is the process, the reverse process of segmentation in order to reassemble a stream of data into its original form. Okay, so that's all for part 4.4 for this error detection and correction. We can refer to the previous chapter 3. Okay, so that's all for this part 4, chapter 4, part 1, TCP/IP. Okay, until then, so we have finished part 1 of this chapter 4. Until we meet again, next slides will be discussed in the next video. So thank you very much for your attention. Hopefully this you can enhance your understanding in this topic. Until then, thank you very much. Bye bye.